Buying a home can feel overwhelming, especially if it's been years since your last purchase. The process has changed, and for many, it's like starting fresh. Today, I'm joined by Joanne Johansen, CEO of Platinum Mortgage Solutions, to break down the mortgage process step by step. From pre-approvals to making a strong offer, we're covering what buyers need to know in today's market. Let's dive in. So for many of our buyers, the process can be overwhelming. How do you walk through a new buyer, say a first-time buyer? And I'm finding too, just when we say first-time buyers, some of the sellers haven't purchased in many, many, many years, and the whole process is different. So we'll consider them first-time buyers. How do you walk them through all the basic steps of securing a mortgage?
Right. So the first phone call, I know a lot of times the first phone call is to an agent, right?
Mm-hmm.
And which is fine,
Yep.
but like you don't even know what you could show them until somebody gets pre-approved, right? So I start with a very in-depth conversation with the client. I ask a lot of questions about, where they, where they live, do they rent, how long they've been there, their job, how long they've been on the job, how are they paid, right?
Mm-hmm.
A very hot button item right now is variable income. Since COVID, the normal 40-hour work week is somewhere between 32, 35, 37 hours, right? So if you're paid by the hour, it's variable. It just adds another layer of documents that we need to get, right? So we asked a lot of in-depth questions. Are you divorced? Are you getting child support? Have you ever filed bankruptcy? Had a house foreclosed on in, even if they're not a first-time home buyer,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
What's your credit score? The higher your credit score, the lower your interest rate is going to be. So I ask a lot of questions. I take a very solid intake sheet.
Mm-hmm.
From that point, I hand that sheet over to Stephen, who is my loan officer assistant. He's also a licensed loan officer. He will send them an email of what documents we need, right? So depending on how my conversation went is going to depend on what documents Stephen is going to request.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen collects the documents, he submits it into our system, right? We discuss it, he gives the file back to me, and I call the client back and say, I in that time when I'm asking a lot of questions, I ask them, where do you want your mortgage payment, right? Because sometimes where you want your mortgage payment and what you could afford are different, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you
And
could afford a
yeah.
$4,000 a month mortgage payment, but not many people want a $4,000 a month mortgage
Mm-hmm.
payment. So
Mm-hmm.
I go over the payments with them, and then I circle back to the agent that referred the business to me and said, okay, they're good to go with X amount of dollars, this much money down, conventional loan, CHFA loan,
Mm-hmm.
if that's what they're doing, FHA, we do VA, USDA, we do it all.
Yep.
Renovation, we do all of that. So we have that conversation, and then every week from that point on until they're under contract, I'm contacting my what we call pre-approved and looking, right? Our pals, we call them our pals on
That's so
Thursday.
cool. Yeah.
And we say, are you
Yep.
going, hey, I saw this house pop up in Wallingford. Are you going to go see that? I see they're having an open house, and we encourage the buyers to get out there and to look. We've been, since 2020 in a
Mm-hmm.
bit of a difficult market, but people are still buying. People are still buying, no
Yep.
matter what
They
the
are.
interest rates,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
And we encourage them every Thursday. Have you seen something? And we always touch the lead, which is the client, right? And then we touch the partner, which is the person who sent it to us, right? So you refer somebody to me, I'm going to call them on Thursday. I'm going to encourage them to get out and look at some properties. And then I'm going to call you and say, hey, I talked to Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Did you happen to see the house on Melrose Place? are you going to take them to see it looks like it fits their criteria? So we have all
Mhm.
those conversations on Thursday. Do you want me to keep going? Like once they
That's
get in?
awesome. No, and in addition to that, so when the buyer ends up submitting an offer, one of the things that I appreciate that you're always willing to do is contact the listing agent, and it makes a huge difference. And I always get the feedback too from the agents just stating that not every lender will do that. Not every broker will do that. And that's going to be a question too. What differentiates you from lending and brokerage? But no, that's a very intricate part of it all because especially in today's market, it's so crazy. And anything that we can do to have our offer stand out. So you contacting them is a big deal.
Yeah,
Um,
I think it's important that the listing agent knows that number one, this borrower has been pre-approved, right? We're
mhm.
not just taking an intake sheet. I'm not going to mention any other lenders or brokers or
Yeah,
anything
yeah,
like
yeah.
that, but there are some people and some big institutions that will just issue a pre-approval letter and they haven't
Mhm.
seen one income document,
Yeah.
right? So I think it's important that the listing agent right up front knows you're going to hear from me.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
stand by my pre-approvals. I
Mhm.
stand by them. And so I think it's important. And I think it's important that they know that you and I have a working relationship,
Mhm.
right? That we've worked together for years. We have a synergy. We know how the process is supposed to work. And
Yeah.
we're all going to work together to get these clients sold and get our new clients in the house. And I do think that that's important.